Well, everyone, I've been playing Borderlands 4 and I've got some thoughts. I have feelings strong and soft as always, and I'm going to tell you all about them because this game is conflicting. On the one hand, it's really fun. It harkens back to the best days of the franchise in the best ways. They've also done a lot of work to avoid the really cringy dialogue of Borderlands 3, which we all remember was like so cringy, it was sometimes hard to play.
Threat assessment. Smelly weirdo.
Heads, I win! Tails are butt handles! Joke's on you! I was in massive debt! I died the way I lived! Pissing and shitting!
But they really have done a lot of work to try and keep it more, I guess, grounded within the world is what you'd say. It's not like, you know, dark, gritty, grounded like The Last of Us or something. It's more that the characters say things that make sense in this world, in the game, not just things that are references to memes that were popular in 2016. You know, it's refreshing that they don't try to be hip and cool in that way, and I like it a lot more. Gameplay wise, the gunplay is better than I think it's ever been before. The build crafting is very robust. The open world map is pretty well executed with one major exception, which I'll tell you about in just a second. And to put it simply, if you like Borderlands, you're going to really like this game, I think. That being said, it is not all sunshine and rainbows. There are a couple of like major caveats to what I'm saying. And they're basically all tied to performance, unfortunately, and also not surprisingly. Now, to demonstrate this, I'm just gonna go out into the open world and drive around a little bit because it's going to reveal what I'm referring to. You see, Unreal Engine has a known problem when it comes to shader pre-compilation. Effectively, what happens in big open world environments is that when you enter into a new area, the engine kind of stutters as it tries to figure out how to present everything to you. And even though you can have shader compilation happen when you boot up the game and install new drivers, for example, it still has an under the hood problem with compiling shaders and arranging them in the way that it needs to when you enter new areas. And what this effectively means is that when you enter into new areas of the map, you'll end up with some excessive stuttering and hitching that happens as you go from zone to zone. Now, sometimes this is worse than in other areas for whatever reason. As you can see in this recorded footage, at times it drops into the 50s. It might drop like 5 or 10 frames and then it recovers just fine. Then it stutters again as you slide into a new spot. It's really weird. And this is after the drivers dropped for everybody and after an update that they sent out, which to be fair is not the day one update, but all I can report on is the version of the game that I have and that I've been playing. And the version of the game I've been playing has major issues with stuttering when you enter into new areas. Thankfully, in terms of gameplay, once you're in the new area and you're engaging in combat in that area, it's not really a problem because you're already loaded in. So as you're fighting enemies in waves and waves of like mini bosses and stuff, it doesn't really matter if it stuttered when you got there because once you're there, it's locked solid pretty well. And, ooh, look at this. That's cool. But like I said, all I can do is report on the version of the game that I have, and the version of the game I have is having some pretty significant stutter problems even now. They say that the day one patch will significantly improve it and it will not have the same problems. At least they'll be greatly reduced, but we've seen plenty of games release where they say like, pinky promise, we swear that we're gonna fix the stutter problems or the performance issues at launch, and it just doesn't. So I'm gonna tell you what I've seen and go from there. That being said, it has gotten significantly better. The first version of the game they gave us access to for the review period was really stuttery. I'm not even gonna show you footage of it because I just don't think that's fair because it's not the version that you'll get, but it was like really rough. I was considering dropping the game and not even bothering to play it. It was so stuttery. And then they issued an update and it did significantly improve it. But as you can see on the graphs and charts, just in this gameplay in real time, it still will have some stutter issues. It still will stutter occasionally when entering into new areas. Your tolerance for that may vary, but I need to point it out. The other kind of obvious thing to mention is that this game is heavy, like really heavy. I play on a 4090 and I very comfortably fit into the recommended specs, okay? Like, I excel the recommended specs. I am in the overkill spec range, okay? Like, this PC has 128 gigs of RAM. I'm not running low on that for sure. And even now as we're playing, you can see a 7950X 3D 16 core CPU. We've got the 4090. We're running off of an NVMe SSD, 128 gigs of RAM. Like, we're giving this game everything it could possibly need to run well. And even with that, it is struggling to maintain like mid to high 70s for the frame rate. And that's just kind of frustrating, honestly. Like, this is on high settings with DLSS turned on to balanced mode. Like, let's even do this. Even with like a $1,500 GPU, if I go badass, DLSS, I set it to quality mode, and then we just leave everything else to what it set automatically for the badass like quality settings. And then I hit apply. Watch where the performance goes once we start actually doing stuff, okay? Oh, God. Hold on. There you go. Okay, it's loading in. It's loading in. But you can see we're now in like the 40s and it's trying. Oh God. It's trying, okay? And again, this is on a $1,500 GPU. Like, you can't make this up, dude. This is a very high-end PC, and the game is struggle bussing. And you can see all over the place, the GPU utilization, CPU utilization is kind of freaking out. It's not locked at 100. It's bouncing all over. I won't pretend to know exactly what's going on or why it's running like that, but it has been a consistent issue that if you want to play this even on a high-end system, you probably need to drop settings significantly. And I get it. I get it. You want to future-proof the game. You want to make sure that it runs well in the long term. I can appreciate that and understand it. But at the same time, I also don't feel like the game looks quite good enough to justify running so heavy. You know, like, if it's photorealistic, I'm okay if it doesn't run great, because it kind of makes sense. You'd expect it. But in the case of this, like, it's cel-shaded graphics. Yeah, the poly counts are high. Yeah, the like action and alpha effects are great, but it's just not on the level that I would tolerate like dropping into the 30s on, again, a $1,500 GPU. Maybe I'm just spoiled. Maybe I'm just being like spoiled PC Master Race kind of guy, but I feel like that's fair to feel like it doesn't run well enough for what it looks like. With that said, I'm going to go into settings and drop it back down to high because I cannot tolerate how choppy that was. We're gonna hit apply, and as you can see, I go to high, balance DLSS settings, I back out once more, and then it settles into the 80s and 70s, which is much more comfortable for me personally. But the point is, this does not run like Valorant or CSGO, okay? Just be aware, it is not a ridiculously well-optimized game. It is very much an Unreal Engine game. Now, with that awkward, clunky, annoying part out of the way that we have to discuss every time a new AAA game releases nowadays, what about the core content itself? Well, as you've heard in the previews, it's really, really good. I really think that if you're a fan of Borderlands, you're going to eat this up. They've made major improvements across the board in the gameplay departments, in build crafting, in the boss fights, in the end game design. Pretty much everything that you will care about as a Borderlands player has been significantly overhauled here. The environments are vast and pretty interesting to explore, with all sorts of goodies to be found tucked behind every nook and cranny. It's really well done, I think. I will say, however, that co-op is one of the staple ways to play Borderlands. Most people even say it's the definitive best way to play Borderlands. And I was not able to personally test it myself, as I only got access to one code. However, I have spoken to some people who did get the chance to play it in co-op, and they told me that they experienced a plethora of technical issues specifically related to co-op as well. Things like disconnects, things like rubber banding, and so on. I guess none of that should be like really surprising nowadays. Unfortunately, that pretty much everywhere you look, there's some sort of technical issue, but that's just where we're at. But once again, all of those problems could be fixed in a day one patch. That's kind of the tricky thing. When a game doesn't run well in the version that you gave to reviewers and people making impressions videos and stuff, all we can do is report on what we saw. I'm not gonna just like, trust me, bro, on you fixing the game at launch day. I can only talk about what I've seen, and what I've seen and what I've heard from other people that have been playing, like co-op, for example. It really seems like performance is a pretty significant problem. And that's just too bad, because instead of us discussing how good the game seems to be, we end up having a conversation over technical performance issues and Unreal Engine screwing up another game, which is just, it sucks, because you want to talk about the core content. You don't want to have to talk about this stupid stuff like performance, which should be a given, in my opinion. Like, we shouldn't have to worry if a game's gonna run well or not. It should just run well, and then we get to discuss the game itself. But no, instead nowadays everything is terrible. Everything runs bad, everything sucks. That's just where we're at. I will say I've been playing as Vex, who is the character I'm using right now, and she has the ability to summon a Spectre or a Reaper. The Spectres are ranged versions and apparitions of her, but the Reaper is the close range melee version. And you can level them up to specifically accommodate your playstyle, which is kind of nice. Oh my God. As you may expect, I've not really had the time to test all of the different playable characters. There are some people out there who I'm sure already have put like 1,000 hours into this game somehow, even though that shouldn't mathematically be possible, but that's just how hardcore Borderlands fans can be, you know? Borderlands fans go hard, and the build crafting is really solid here from what I've seen, so I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of crazy interesting builds and setups you can come up with if you feel so inspired to sink your teeth into it. I will say this is one of those moments where the frame drops are getting like really annoying because it's just as you're getting swarmed by a bunch of enemies that it really acts up and gets bad. And it's just really frustrating because you're like trying to quickly zip around, but you just can't see where you're going because things keep kind of stuttering and getting in your way. It's just annoying. That's why performance in these types of games is important. It's crucial. I don't know why I just used that. Little by little, we're getting there. We're getting there. Almost, baby. Yeah, buddy. Lightweight. There he goes. We did it. Okay. Look at all the loot. All the delicious, yummy loot. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. I just gotta clean up the mess. You know, clean up the mess. Ooh, fancy. Ooh, fancy. I love all the new little goodies. Yeah, let's try that. Let's just totally shake it up. Let's shake it up. Interesting. Okay, there we go. Nope, there's more. There's always more. Now, as for like customization and stuff like that, you can see when you go in here and go to skills, there's a bunch of stuff you can tweak and change based on your playstyle. There's even 3 different trees for each of the different vault hunters that you want to choose from. So you can really tweak it as much as you want because it's going to change based on the loot that you pick up, right? So if you find that you pick up some item, maybe it's a shield or something that really works well with one of these particular abilities or action skills, maybe it's the face familiar option, or it's like the dead ringer one that I've been using, or incarnate, you can select that and completely respec your character at one of your bases, which is also really nice. So you always have the option to just respec, try something totally different, which I really like. I mean, even going back to games like Elden Ring, for example, I loved respecing in that game and just trying different stuff. I can't tell you how many times I started a campaign as like a magic user, and then by the end of it, I was swinging massive hammers around. I think it's really great to empower players to choose how they want to play, because they may initially think that they'll like a particular play style, and so you need to give them the option to swap it out and change it depending on what they're feeling in the moment, which I really like. Now, there's a whole lot of game left for me to play, but as of right now, I'm having a really good time. You know, this is only like 10 hours into the game. I have not had the chance to play as much as I wanted to because I've been traveling to Europe for the last 2 weeks. So I've been a little busy with that. And at least as of right now, this game does not run on the Steam Deck. And while it technically can run on my ROG Ally, it's not what I would consider playable. So it's not great for portable gaming. It works if you're going to play on like a laptop, but beyond that, it's probably not going to be a great fit if you're hoping to play this on the go. Hopefully they continue to optimize it and get it to the point where it does run that well, but time will certainly tell. Take care of them, ladies. There we go. Good job. Go team. Go team. I will say though, I'm having a really good time, and I used to play a lot of Borderlands actually back in college. It was one of the games that me and my roommates would play together while, you know, chilling in our very, very cold basement and drinking water and partaking of various chocolates and delicacies. And it was a great time. Like, it's one of my fond memories of college was playing a lot of Borderlands. And I hadn't really felt that same feeling before this, like in years and years and years and years. But here I am, and I'm right back to it. And in fact, tonight I am actually planning on trying to get my old college buddies back together, and we're gonna try to see if we can get in here playing co-op again, which I think would be really, really fun. All told, it's a really good Borderlands game. It's just held back by pretty poor optimization and by the occasional bug and problems that hopefully are fixed in the day one patch, but we won't find out until day one. And I really hope they do get fixed, because there's multiple bugs that I've run into, like enemies phasing into walls, making them unkillable so you can't clear objectives, which is really, really annoying, because the only way I've gotten around it is by either spamming my like summons into the same unreachable areas and then they kill them, by doing AoE like splash damage with grenades or other things like containers that you can chuck at them. And that's if you even find the NPC or the enemy that's phased into a wall. But other times I've had to like go fast travel to the other side of the map and then come back, so the whole level reloads from scratch, and then sometimes the enemy will clip back outside the wall so you can kill them. But it's happened numerous times. Like at this point, I'm up to 3 different occasions where enemies phased into areas where I couldn't kill them, and I almost got soft locked as a result of it. And it wasted 20, 30 minutes of my time trying to sort of cheese the game into letting me work around it. Like in this case, you can see it's prompting me to kill the guards and escape with Zadra, but there's no guards to be found anywhere. And it turns out he had phased into a wall in a previous room, and I had to go and do some like splash damage with a grenade to damage him enough to go and actually clear the area. Or like right here, I got soft locked in an area where an enemy spawned inside this building, and I saw the laser pointing, or like of his rifle sticking out of the building. And I went around like, you can't break the glass to get him. He's not aggroed to you right now, but he's in there. You can't get in. And the only way I found to be able to kill him in this particular instance, since the doors are locked as part of this mission at this point in the story, I had to go and summon, as you can see, like right here, I used a grenade to freeze him. That did a little bit of damage, but I was able to use the Spectre or Reaper, I forgot which one I used, Reaper, and was able to warp them inside, and then that happened to be able to kill the enemy. And then it cleared it, counted it as kill order forces, and I was able to move on. And then the doors unlock and I could get back in. But it was just really annoying and frustrating that this has happened multiple times, and it wastes a lot of time each and every time it happens. But overall, I think the core game is really good. I'm enjoying what the game is. It's just when it works, which unfortunately is a really common asterisk that we have to put next to big AAA games nowadays, is that it's really good when it works well, like it should work well. It's a $70 game, okay? Like, this is full price, and the idea that there's still like soft locks and there's massive stutter issues in certain areas of the map even now, it's just kind of frustrating. And to see that it's not optimized particularly well even when you're using a $1,500 GPU, that's just crazy to me. But that's where we are. And I'm sure it'll still sell very, very well and people will still enjoy it, but I am just going to try to warn you about all this stuff so you know what you're getting into nonetheless, because I don't want you to be surprised. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for making my dreams a reality every single day. It humbles me. Truly, truly it does. If you haven't already, go to the link tree in the description box below and enter our PS5 Pro giveaway for this month. I'm giving away a PS5 Pro just to say thank you to you guys. Shout out to Ryan, who won the August giveaway for the PS5 Pro. It could be you this month. All you have to do is go down into the link tree, enter, and it could be yours. We'll do the drawing at the end of the month. And it's just my way of saying thank you for watching. Love you. With all that said, thanks for watching, guys. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.